Upping for me or what? Huh? Well, there were some really good things, and the best thing for me was when you looked at the last 2 days and see UCLA get beat by Northridge. There were just a bunch of games, and there were some that were, Indiana down 13 late. There were so many games that the Judd Heathcote rule is, as I told you before, the last game before Christmas and the first game after Christmas is when most upsets happen. So we were concerned. We thought this team, and I talked to Gino, and I think he's a really good coach, and he just said our defense was so good early that they lost confidence in their shooting. They have to make shots, and our defense wasn't good in the second half again. That was a negative. Our rebounding wasn't good in the second half, but I guess in some ways when you're 20, 30, 40 at points up, it's probably hard. It's hard to coach, hard to play. The positives were 33 assists on 38 baskets with Jeremy and AJ getting 10 assists each. AJ gets a double-double, and I thought did a hell of a job. Jeremy we put him in the middle of that zone, and he was very good in there, and he's never been in there before. The other big positive, Tyson had a stretch where he was really good, and he missed some good shots, but Jaden Akins probably had his best game in a long time. He shot the ball well in practice the last probably 10 days to 2 weeks, and he's just little adjustment on his shot, and I think it's really helped, and he's really done a nice job, and so that's encouraging. Amadi and Coop struggled a little bit tonight, and Book played a little better tonight. We're getting a little more and more out of that position. We tried to get Book some time because, it's these kind of games. He's got to get some time in so he can get some confidence, and he's making progress, and that's all I can ask. So, all in all, get 64 shots up. There were all kinds of positives there. Just the free throw shooting, rebounding, give up 16 offensive boards, and 40-some points second half was discouraging. But other than that, it was a pretty encouraging night.
Tom, when your two guys like Tyson and AJ out of the chute just sort of take control of a game that could be right before Christmas, all that stuff, treat it almost like it's Baylor, and you get that. Set that tone, you get up 13-2, and it allows for everything else that happens. Can you speak to the focus you saw from those two and how that changed?
Well, that's what Graham, that's what I'm most excited about. I talked to AJ and him a lot in the last couple of days, almost paranoia, if you want the truth from me, because coaches do that. But last night I texted AJ about some team that got upset, and his text back was, "Don't worry, I'll have him ready to play." And I said, well, that means he's starting to take over the team. That's very encouraging. Very encouraging. I thought he did a phenomenal job of that. He's actually had his best semester academically. He's done some good things, and I thought what he did tonight was he just controlled the game and controlled our team and got people involved and made shots when he had to, but didn't take that many shots, and made most of his free throws. I was hoping he'd rebound a little better, and so was he. But when he does that, and Tice, he actually missed some wide open shots, but his defense for a stretch early, he got his hands on every ball there was to get his hands on. I was impressed. So I don't know if anybody else was, but I was impressed.
You kind of mentioned about the assists. 33 is up there with that, kind of close to that 2000 game against Michigan in terms of sharing the ball. What have you seen from this group? There was a lot. It seemed like there were a lot of unselfish moments where guys were making extra passes or just looking for someone.
Again, there's watershed moments in a game. There's things you look for. I thought a couple of times Tyson took a couple of shots that were too quick, and I thought Jaden took about 2, and I told him that. And the next time he passed one up, and I can't remember who he hit. It was a phenomenal play, and I think it was Trey. And that as a coach makes you feel good, because guys are listening, guys are hearing, and then guys put what you told them to work. And so I was impressed. Jaden's whole demeanor, I mean, as I told him, now what he's got to do is when he doesn't shoot well, he's still got to have that same focus. But he took good shots for the most part, but he's been shooting the lights out in practice. So, even though we didn't shoot it 38% or 7, whatever it was, and I think at halftime it felt like we had a lot of threes that went in. I thought Malik's was a 3 and it was a 2. It seemed like we had a lot that went in, and I said at halftime we're shooting 28%. Then the second half we started making them, and I just said, where were these shots at the beginning of the year? Even the ones we missed were right there. Beginning of the year, ones we missed were like Scud missiles, and so that's really encouraging. When your misses look good, I think that's another encouraging part.
Hey, Coach, Nick Sanders hit a three-pointer tonight. What's it like watching him as a walk-on every day in practice and then seeing that moment tonight?
There are things, I don't know who was more excited. I think Steven was more excited than Nick, and that was pretty cool. Steven's first assist, I think, Nick's first bucket. Barry was in the locker room and with his sons, and it was, those are cool moments, man. Those are really cool moments, and Nick is an incredible student, and so much like his dad with his humbleness and his humility. It's just, I've had some good walk-ons over the years, it started with Matt Ishbia way back, but Davis Smith has been so good for our program, and Nick Sanders has been unbelievable, and I think you could tell by the bench, those guys have a real love for him because they know what he does every day, and they were happier than he was. He's got the Barry coolness, but Steven and the bench went crazy, so that was cool.
I think it was Xavier Booker. He missed his first 2 shots, but that third one, the alley-oop with the feed from Jeremy Fierce, everyone just celebrated that. I think Tyson jumped up on him. And to see him have the game that he had after, all of the questions about his playing time and stuff, just what is a game like this do for a freshman like Xavier? And
Well, you
what
can
have
still
thought?
see, and I talked to his parents about it, so I can say it to you. He still gets pushed around sometimes, but he's doing some more things against certain teams. Now you got to do those against other teams like Nebraska or like the team we're going to play, who's got a center who's really good. But he's making progress, and that's, I think too many people look at the end goal instead of the journey to get there. And the journey to get there is hard. So what does this do? This probably proves that I'm a bad scheduler, because maybe if we could have had some games where he could have played in earlier a little bit more. But it also proves that, putting him on the scout team 2.5 weeks ago was probably the greatest thing I've done. And I did it with Xavier Tillman, I did it with Valentine, I did it with a lot of guys over the years. But it's really helped him. And I think what you're seeing is those guys, want him to play harder, want him to get that motor going. And so when he does something like that, because he missed that earlier dunk. And, I keep telling him he's got a 42-inch vertical. That's up there, not quite with Cohen, but not quite with Jay Rich, but up there with him. Those guys, those are rare air guys. And yet he doesn't always use it. Now he's starting to block shots. He hasn't done that all year. He's just playing with a little more aggression. And he's got a long way to go, but I like the journey he's on, and that's pretty cool.
Xavier, you said, or at least the guys say he doesn't show a lot of emotion. Today in the locker room, with the game he had, did you see a little?
No, I chewed him out in the last time out for that. I said, you hit a 3 and you just went cool. I said, I don't care if you rant and rave, but, you got to show some. You got to, when he missed the dunk, nothing, okay? How about, hey, Ty, thanks for the pass. Hey, coach, that won't happen again. These are all part of the teaching points, and they might not matter in some programs. You damn well better understand it matters in this one. So Book is taking baby steps, and I really love the way players responded to him. I love the fact that he is moving his feet better. He's in practice. He's being more physical. I mean, it's just like, it's all, again, I keep saying part of the journey. And the journey for him started a little lower than maybe some others. But the journey's what gets you to the rainbow, the pot of gold at the end. And that's kind of how we're looking at it.
Okay, so I know that in the first half, you guys had a shutout half. In the first half, you held Stony Brook to 12 points. Y'all scored 20 points in total off turnovers. My question is, how have you guys focused on locking in, keying in on your defensive principles now from back to the first couple of games?
Believe it or not, if you look at our first couple games and you look at our defensive field goal percentage and our three-point, it was off the charts. We were ranked 7th in the nation. And then as the shooting started going down, we weren't guarding as well. I think it affected some guys. But I'd say the biggest thing, too, is the health of Tyson, the hip and the weight he lost and the sickness. Because Tyson, he had his hands on more balls today than I just couldn't believe it. I mean, I sat there and said, he looked like Professor Gadget. His hands were everywhere, and he was just knocking balls loose. And then AJ, I think those two have decided that we're going to guard people, and then Jaden can do it. I think Jaden was affected with his shooting, and, that affects where those two guys, Ty has just been a terror defensively these last couple of games. And then Marty, I think, has improved some too on the ball screen stuff. So, yeah, we're better defensively. Malik did an unbelievable job on the kid from Oakland. He really did. He scored 17, but on Malik it wasn't many, and I thought he did a great job. So we're starting to put our defense together. Then if we rebound and run, we get our running game going. We did have fast break points. 27, we had 21, we had 23. That's getting better. And yet you got to rebound. I am concerned about our rebounding. We're not only not rebounding great, but we're not getting a lot of clean rebounds.
I'm wondering, over the course of the last week and a half since the Nebraska game, the teacher in you, and seeing the guys kind of absorb the things that you want them to do and then translating it, how has that been?
Well, as we talked at Nebraska, we weren't making shots. I mean, we weren't making any shots. And then we started to make some in that game even. And I just felt like our defense wasn't as good, but they made some shots. When you make 3 or 4 Christers, that's the difference in shooting 42% or 30%. Because you don't have that many shots, and so that's what's hard for people to understand. Sometimes the other team just plays good, that they make shots. I don't even know if they played good. They made shots, and that's why I think our rebounding is so important. Our defense is so important because that should be more constant. But we did have a lot of meetings and a lot of talks, and we think we got some things straightened out with Jaden's shot. We think that. AJ's been, pretty good for the last 4 or 5 games. He's had, I want to say 6 or 7 double-figure games now, and he's shooting a higher percentage. He's getting assists, not turning the ball over a lot. I'm really pleased with how he's played. So, we'll find out because things change here quickly, and most people will think they're going to change when the Big Ten starts. I've done some weird scheduling things, but this one, this team is good. They're well coached. They got 5 guys that are shooting over 40 from the 3, including their center. Everybody I talked to, it was more like, why would you do that? And so like a good head coach, I blame KP. That's because that's what we do. But at the same time, it's not me like they're better than a lot of the Big Ten teams, so maybe it's a good progression into it. We'll see. We'll see how our guys come back. We'll see what kind of condition they're in. We'll see if they come back. Today they came with some vigor. you know. That was a really encouraging part because that showed maturity, and Tyson and AJ deserve a lot of credit for that. I think that showed really maturity on their part, and when AJ texted me that back last night, I believed them, and that hasn't always been the case. And so I think he too, we're all growing different ways, but I think it's towards the same goal. And man, we've been through hell now. I mean, you guys know it's been a tough run when you shoot as poorly, not losing the games, just shoot as poorly as we shot. But, and those starts, and now we've corrected some of that. And like people say, you got to go through some hard times, makes the good times better, so we'll see if that's true. Anything else? Well, let me close by saying to everybody on TV and news that I hope you have a happy holiday, and in whatever way you're celebrating it, I hope you get to spend some time with your families. As you get older, you realize that your family is important and that you got to find a way to spend some time with them. Christmas usually brings everybody together, the holiday season in general, and I hope you have a great time. I hope you take care of yourself, and I hope you show up here the game after Christmas, because I think it's going to be a hell of a game. Thanks. Yeah, you too, guys. Oh, you guys have a good Christmas.